This is the Financially Simple Podcast, a show dedicated to destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner. And now, here's your host, pizza-loving, certified financial planner, Justin Goodbread.
Welcome to Financially Simple. This is a finance show for small business owners about money, how it works in our business and personal lives, and how we can build wealth to be financially independent. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread. Today we continue with the series, Growing the Value of Your Business. Now, in the last few episodes, we've been dealing specifically with strategic planning. And today I want to deal with strategies within the context of strategic planning. Jeff Bezos said, what we need to do is always lean into the future. When the world changes around you and when it changes against you, what used to be a tailwind is now a headwind. You have to lean into that and figure out what to do because complaining isn't a strategy. Man, I love that. I love that quote. I love the fact that when he says what used to be a tailwind is now a headwind. You know, what got us to where we're at many times will be the thing that challenges us from keeping where we want to go. I love that quote. I like he says you have to lean into it. You have to lean into that. You have to lean into that headwind, that wind blowing your face, and try to figure out what to do because complaining isn't a strategy. Friends, man, I could almost just mic drop it right there and not even take the action for it. I mean, that is powerful to me. You know, we often fuss about things in our way versus trying to figure them out. We often complain. I found that quote. I was like, dude, this is so the quote we need to deal with in today's strategies. So today, I want you to think about the objectives. We just finished up last episode about laying out the objectives we want to try to achieve. There's 3 objectives. Now we're going to start strategizing. Now, how are we going to achieve those strategies? So today, I want you to think about 3 questions that we want to answer. 3 questions we want to answer. The first one is, how will we engage with our customers? So that's part of the strategy question you want to ask as you're looking at your objectives. Well, how do we want to engage with our customers? And the second question is, how will we be positioned in the market? So as you bring your objectives to life, and now you're trying to create a strategy on how to move those forward, how are you going to be positioned in the market? And then the third one is, how are you going to grow? And now growth doesn't necessarily mean monetary growth. It could be market growth. It could be marginal growth. I mean, there's a number of ways to growth. So let's deal with those 3 questions. Let's deal with each of those in the context of strategic planning. So we've come through a lot of process now. We've dealt with values and missions. We dealt with our vision statement. We dealt with our SWOT. Last episode, we dealt with objectives, the 3 goals we want to try to achieve. And today we're in the strategizing session. How are we going to achieve these goals? Now, the next episode, we're going to deal more specifically with that. But today I want you to think strategically. How can you engage with your customers? So I want to deal first with engage. So how are you going to engage your customers? You know, I love to shoot my bow and arrow. Love it. During the wintertime, during the fall time, it starts to cool off here in Tennessee. It is bow season. I do like to go bow hunting, but man, I just love shooting my bow and arrow. And I have a really tricked out bow. It's fun to shoot. Whenever it goes time to go hunting, actually harvest an animal, I'll use a 3-bladed broadhead. And this broadhead is razor sharp, and it does the job. I want you to think about 3 blades. Or maybe if you're not an archer like me, or maybe you're not a bow hunter, I want you to think of a triangle. Either way will do. And at the bottom of the triangle, let's lay this to where the 2 points touch the surface that we're laying on. So you may think of a pyramid like the Egyptian pyramid, but versus being a multi-dimensional, we're just dealing with a flat triangle. Okay. So that's what I want you to put in your head. And on the bottom left of a 3-headed broadhead, or if you want to go that route, if you're like me, an old country boy, or you want to deal with a triangle, for you city slickers out there, on the bottom left-hand side of that triangle, I want you to think of the words operational excellence. Operational excellence. So this is one of the methods we can use to engage with our customers. You may say, I want to be an operationally excellent company. And so companies like that will have reliable products. They're the lowest cost provider. They're lowest cost. They're easy to deal with and they're convenient. And the logistics around it is just dominant. Okay, so let's put some names to companies who are operationally excellent. So if they're consistent, okay, we could throw things like, what is consistent? Well, McDonald's, you can consistently get the same hamburger across the world, just about. I think pretty much the same. Walmart is consistent. You know what you're going to get in the store. So they're consistent. They have the lowest cost structure than their competitors. Walmart is pretty cheap. They're pretty cheap. They have cost controls in place. McDonald's, go back to them. They're not expensive compared to some, even trying to go to the grocery store and buy some hamburger, make your own hamburger, more pricey than a 59-cent cheeseburger during the summertime. I mean, that's pretty cheap to get a hamburger from McDonald's. Now, let's not get into the health issues of it, but it's still pretty cheap because they've streamlined processes down. They have the lowest prices. They have supply chain management. They're not big and frills. They deal with large volumes. They're speedy. They're reliable, and you can duplicate them. There's franchisable. You can duplicate the process over and over and over again. That is an operational excellence. We're dealing with the actual structure of the business. That is one way to engage clients. Another way you can engage clients is through what's called product leadership. Now, product leadership comes oftentimes in the research and development market. So to me, product leadership might be Apple or it might be Samsung. It could be Tesla at this point. Tesla's not the most inexpensive vehicle. Apple Watch. I was looking at Apple Watches. Man, alive, they were wearing me out on how much these things cost. And I don't have an Apple product, but thought, well, maybe I should get an Apple Watch and switch over and get from a Samsung to an Apple. I got little red demon off my shoulder. And I said, nope, I'm going to stay with the Samsung. Then I heard the angel sing. So I'm joking. Go easy. Okay. Not really. But, product leadership, that's another way you can develop it. So this research and development, you have flexibility in production. You have product innovation. You typically have the, quote, best product. So a product innovative company is one that's focused on innovation. You have the state-of-the-art products and services. You have high investments in your research and development arms. You're dealing with performance and leadership. You often market your brand. Does this sound like an Apple? Or a Samsung? You come to speed to the market. You're dealing with high margins in a very short time frame because the product is often very quickly copied by your competitors. In the hunting and fishing world, and if you go to many outdoor sporting stores, you'll see this cooler called the Yeti, Y-E-T-I. That was a product leadership company. It has a best product. The research and development was outstanding. I've got a knockoff Yeti because I wasn't going to pay $600 for a cooler. I got two for $200 on a Christmas sale from a new company that copied what Yeti was doing. Not to the exact, they just modified it slightly. But Yeti wanted to be a product leadership. Now, look, if Yeti doesn't continue to do research and development, they're not going to be in business long. Same as Apple or Samsung. If they don't continue to give new and better products with constant research and development, R&D going forth, then their product leadership company is going to move away from that particular pinnacle. So if you're looking at your triangle, you have operational excellence in the bottom left, and you have product leadership at the pinnacle, at the top center of that triangle, or at the top center blade of your broadhead. But that leaves one more, and this comes into customer intimacy. Customer intimacy is the last type of way you can engage your clients and customers or patients or whatever type of business you're operating. With customer intimacy, you typically have very loyal customers, and you're offering some of the best, if not the best, solutions for your customers' problems. You're dealing with innovation at the customer level, not innovation at the product level. You're trying to figure out how to identify your customers' needs and meet them. And you're very CRM or customer relationship management driven. That's where you're dominant at. So in a customer intimacy model, you're dealing with effectiveness. You have a very deep understanding of your customer's needs, and you developed customized products for your specific customer. Now get this. Unlike the operational excellent type of product that is the low price, in a customer intimacy model, you are dealing with the high price. You're dealing with above average pricing. So we're not talking about Walmart here. We're not talking about Apple, because we're dealing with more specific customers. If I went in to buy an apple, do you think Apple gives two flying flips about Justin Goodbread? Probably not. But I can go down the road to a diner and walk in, and the guys on Friday nights, they serve frog legs. Ooh. Anyways, I can walk down the road to the diner, and the lady recognizes that I'm that financial guy that lives just down the road. Or if I can go to the co-op and get some chicken feed or some hay or whatever for our critters, and when I walk in, the preacher, as they call him, the preacher behind the co-op counter, he's going to say, "Son, where's your family? Where's those cute little kids? You must have the boys working." And we'll laugh and shoot the bull because they're focused on customer intimacy. So those are the three ways that you can engage your customers. You can deal with operational excellence and have just a streamlined machine. You're going to be dealing with low cost, typically a high flow of customers, and you're going to be working more on logistics. You're going to be very focused on logistics. Or you can go the opposite approach and you can say, you know what, I want a very intimate customer base. There's going to be a little higher price. You're going to know the specific customer's needs. Or you can say, you know what, I don't want to deal with either of those. I want to deal with research and development. So in my world, the financial world, I'll give you some last little tips here on this so you can equate it to your world. In the customer intimacy, Heritage Investors, my company, is a customer intimate company. We are not the cheapest. We will never be the cheapest. We are very heavy with our CRM system. I know almost from memory details about my clients. I can tell you when I met them. I can tell you about their individual goals. I can tell you so much about them because I know my clients. I can anticipate when people are going to get stressed and when they're not. And I can help them achieve their goals on an intimate level. On the other hand, I know firms that are not holistic comprehensive wealth management firms. They're just stockbrokers or they're just mutual fund pushers or life insurance pushers or whatever the product is they're trying to sell. Where I work with 200 or so customers with a team of 9. They work with 3,000 customers with a team of 1 or a team of 2. You see, they're able to offer a lower price and you can get ease of use, but you give up some things with that low cost. Or you can go up in the research and development. You can go to the robots. You know, there are robots who do your tax returns for you. There are robots who do your estate planning for you. There are robots who will manage your money for you. There are robots who will make 401k investment decisions for you. There are robots who will tell you that your emotions are out of control. And that's a product leadership. Is it that one is right and one is wrong? No, they're all just to whom the customer is looking for. The challenge for you and I is oftentimes we want that high customer intimacy, but yet we're too cheap to pay for it. I mean, let's be candid. So whenever you look at your business, what type of business, how are you going to engage with your customers? You see, as you move up the paradigm, you're going to move from someone who provides a product to a vendor, ultimately provides a product to a supplier. You're going to become that trusted business or that trusted advisor. So that is how you engage. So how are you going to engage your customers, your potential customers with this strategic planning? Are you going to be that customer centric? Are you going to be a low price leader? Or are you going to be research and development? And there's nothing wrong with any of those. It's just the business model you want to operate.
You are listening to Financially Simple, destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner.
Then that leads into the question, well, okay, now how are you going to position yourself or your offering to the market? There's a strategy called the Bowman's Clock strategy or the Bowman's strategic clock. And it's often used in marketing to analyze the competitive position of a company in comparison to the various offerings that the competition may use. Now, it was developed by Cliff Bowman and David Faulkner, and it was part of the elaboration of the 3 Porter generic strategies. So it's just a small little component of a bigger area. But I want to pull the Bowman strategic clock out of that bigger Porter generic strategy session, the 3 different things they have there. I want to pull this one little caveat out and teach you a little principle about it. The question is, how will you position yourself in the market? It's called a clock because it has numbers on it. It's round and it has hands. Okay. So I want you to imagine we're doing this audio wise. I'm going to challenge you to go to thefinancialsample.com under the heading podcast and look for episode 82. Dealing with specifically strategy. And we'll have a graphic out there that's very common. Or you may go to Google and look at the Bowman's clock. But for me to give you a visual picture of this clock as you're driving or working out or whatever, I want you to think of a clock and where the 7 o'clock would be, I want you to think of the number 1. Where the 9 o'clock would be, that's the number 2. Where the 10 and a half, 11 o'clock would be, that's the number 3. 12 o'clock would be 4. 2 o'clock's 5, 3 o'clock's 6, 5 o'clock's 7, 6 o'clock's 8. So the number 1 actually begins at where number 7 would be on a traditional clock. Okay, so it kind of starts down. Number 1's down there where number 7 is and goes clockwise around, where 8 ends up at the bottom of the clock where 6 o'clock would be. And the reason why number 1 is in the bottom left side of the circle, the clock face, is this. On the bottom left side, you're dealing with a low price and a low added value. That's the type of company. And you're positioning yourself in the mind of the customer. Okay? And so as we travel clockwise, beginning down there at the 7 o'clock, the number 1 in this case is the Bowman's clock, as you travel clockwise, you start increasing in price and you start increasing in the perceived value to the customer. So number 1 is a low price and a low added value. Now number 2, you're still going to have a low price. Number 3, you're going to be a hybrid. You're really not quite at a low price. Price is starting to ink up a little bit, but now the customer's perceiving you a lot more valuable. Number 4, which is the highest, that is where the customer perceives you as the most valuable place that they can have. And the price is fair. It's average, middle of the road. Think of the 12 to 6. It's right in the middle of the clock. Now, as you go from number 4 to number 5, you're going to now begin to focus on differentiation. You're different. Because you're different than all the other competition, your price is going to be greater. And you're not going to be dealing with as many customers. Now, when you get to number 6, your price is so aggressive that now you run the risk of high margins and your perceived customer pool begins to fall out. You don't have quite as much customer potential. Then you go into monopoly pricing, and they're eventually just going to be busted up by some sort of a government or some sort of an agency. And then ultimately, number 8 is you lost market share. You've fallen off. So here's the way you want to think about this, and we'll use shopping or the retail sector, okay? So you may start off with a low price or low added value, and I'm not knocking it, but you may say, well, that's a dollar store. It's a low price. I'm talking about these ones that you go $1 per thing, not the actual dollar store. I think they're like $5 and some change or $1 this and that. So just different names. We'll go to this type of dollar store to get the kids' glow sticks. Whenever it's summertime, my kids like to play with these glow sticks. And if I go to Walmart, they're a little pricey at Walmart. So we'll go to the dollar store and they last for a few minutes. Some of them bust and they look like glow in the dark zombies running around outside with faces that are glowing because they've been biting them and everything else. But maybe my kids maybe they won't get sick from this glow in the dark stuff. But anyways, the dollar quote stores out there that offers very low prices and cheap stuff. It's just not a perceived value to a customer. Now, there's some people who go there consistently, but it's just a low price, low value ad. Then you may go up a little bit and you may say a low price, but the customer views a little bit better. It might be a Walmart. Walmart's still a low price leader as they advertise, right? But, more people seem to be able to want to shop there. And then maybe you go into the hybrid market. Maybe that's a little bit more perceived value, but the price is just a hair more expensive. So maybe that's a Target. I'm not getting into semantics, but maybe you say Target has a little bit more value. The quality is just a little bit better, but the price is also a little bit more expensive. So that's a hybrid type business. Then you get over into a differentiation type business. And this could be something that, you're going to go more holistically. It may be like a Whole Foods. Instead of going to Walmart or Target and buying your groceries, you may go to Whole Foods. And it is expensive. It's a little bit more expensive, right? More people view the higher value because of the quality of the meat, so to speak. Okay. Now, when you get over into focus differentiation, one of my favorite focus stores is Orvis. I like Orvis. I like LL Bean. They have good quality products. They're more expensive. Good quality products, but they're more expensive. Right? I mean, if I buy a pair of duck boots from Orvis, I could spend $60 on a pair of duck boots. If I go to Walmart, I could get a pair of rubber boots, not exactly the same, for $8, right? But to me, the quality is differentiated, so I'm going to pay more for my Orvis boots. Now, all of a sudden, if I want to go get some handmade custom rubber boots, this would be a number 6. This would be one that has a very high price. And the margins are risky because not many people are out in the market for handmade rubber boots. You follow me? And then number 7, if all of a sudden now a company was able to get all their handmade rubber boots into all the stores and beat out the competition, that becomes monopolized and it's just not going to maintain. So the question becomes is how are you going to engage your customer. Now, I'm sorry it's taken those words to get that message across. I'm going to challenge you to go to the website, financiallysimple.com, under the episode number 82, and look at the Bowman's clock. And then you'll be able to see what I'm talking about as it relates to how you're going to engage your customer. Now, the last point is, how are you going to grow the company? That's part of strategic planning oftentimes, is we're going to grow the company. So there's a matrix called the ANSOF, ANSOFF, ANSOF matrix. And you maybe have seen the ANSOF matrix in the past. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times, but think of 4 boxes, 2 on top of another. And the bottom left-hand side, you're now trying to grow the company, and you're going to introduce the same product or the same service that you've been offering for all these years that's made your business what it is into the same markets. You're like, Justin, why would I enter the same product or the same service into the same markets? Well, you may not have market saturation yet. So I was dealing with a particular contractor on a particular specialty, and this individual has about 10% of the market knows who they are. So there's 90% of the market who's yet to hear about who this individual is. This individual and their company could go in and market more of the same product in the same geographic market, in the same particular space they market in, and gain a little bit better return on their investment. You may also move to the right on the bottom of our double stack squares, and you may offer new products in the same market. This is very common if you're in the research and development area, or if you reach market saturation within your current original product mix or service mix. You'll go in and you'll offer a new product to your same customer base. Now, if we go back to our bottom left-hand side and we go up 1 box, we can offer the same product to new markets. So we can go in and we can say, you know what, I'm going to offer the same product that I've been offering. Instead of offering it just in Knoxville, Tennessee, I'm now going to offer it in Chattanooga, Tennessee, just down the road a little bit. That's offering the same product with new markets. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting to me, okay? If we offer same products in the same markets, that is the least risky way to grow our companies. Because what we're trying to do at that point is we're trying to just get market penetration. We're trying to gain a greater share of an existing product with an existing market. And it could involve something like a product relaunch or increasing brand awareness. And it is the least risky way to grow our company. On the other hand, though, if we were to move and offer new products into the same existing market, then that's a little bit more risky because we're dealing with product development often. And we're using our existing base, our existing client base, our existing customer base to introduce new products. The problem could be is we could end up ticking off our current customer base. The product could flop. The current customer base may not view our new product the same way they view our current product. So there's more risk there. The other way we could go is we could say, you know what, we're going to offer the same product, okay, the same product into new markets. So we could go with and say, you know what, this is marketing development. We could find and create new markets by targeting a new product area. We could look at expansion. Like I mentioned, I can move from Knoxville to Chattanooga. I could stay within Knoxville and say, you know what, I'm currently working with business owners. Now I want to work with doctors, employed doctors. So you can use the same type of product in a new market. A little bit more risky, The area that's dangerous, flat out dangerous, I mean, friends, avoid this like the plague, is to use a new product in a new market. If you develop a new product in a new market, it is the most risky way. So why then would people do this? You do it for product diversification. You're trying to create and develop a new product line or a new niche that'll help move forward. Now, sometimes, friends, you have no choice. Sometimes you have to grow your companies with new products and new markets. I'll give you an example. 3M. You've heard of 3M. If you go to the auto parts store, you'll see their name on tape. I know dentists use 3M supplies. 3M was originally a mining company. They weren't making tape. That's not what they were in the business for. They were there mining ore. But yet over the years, over the 100 plus years they've been in existence, they have morphed and restructured their company multiple times. Now, let's look at some companies who didn't. Blockbuster. Man, Blockbuster, I remember growing up, it was a big deal to go to the Blockbuster store and get a movie and take home the VHS and put the VHS in the tape player. Yeah, then we one day got CDs, and then we one day got Blu-rays. I don't think we had those to my memory in my family while I was in high school. We had VHS. In fact, I still have some VHS. But we would go get a VHS from Blockbuster. And then all of a sudden, here comes Netflix. And here comes Amazon Prime, and here comes Redbox. Now, isn't it amazing that if Blockbuster would have just said, you know what, instead of keeping these major big stores up in place, we're going to create a new product. We're going to create these crazy little boxes that people can walk up to the Kroger's or to the Walmart, to the dollar store, wherever your Redbox is, put some money in, they're going to drop a CD in the mail for those who aren't using live stream. And lo and behold, Redbox is born. And it's a great business. So if Blockbuster had tried to make a new product in a new market, they may be in existence today, but they didn't. So I give you those three different areas, and I know we're a little long today, but I want to give you those to say, as you're going through strategy, how will you engage your customers? How are you going to position yourself in the market? And how ultimately are you going to grow? And with that, thank you for joining us today, guys. I'm going to cut this one short and say, like I say every week, life is hard. Life is good. Life can be frustrating. Money doesn't have to be. Let's continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Hey, y'all go out and make it a great day.
You have been listening to the Financially Simple podcast. The information in this show is for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Instead, seek help from a competent financial advisor. Justin Goodbread, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Heritage Investors, a registered investment advisor.